Well, welcome everybody. Abe Abish here. 29029 and endurance events are a huge, important part of my life, and I want to share that with our audience. And we've talked about endurance events and the things that I've been a part of, and a lot of our clients are part of endurance events. We just had a recent client join us who's ran over 120 ultra marathons. Having run several over 100 miles, just truly an inspiration. And so today we have Mark Hodulich here. He's a CEO and co-founder of 29029 Everesting. The website's 29029everesting.com. And so just some of the goals of this conversation for our listeners today is to educate people on how endurance events can affect all areas of our lives. And we really want to encourage listeners today to pursue their dreams and goals and obviously continue to grow into retirement. And just a little bit more about Mark. He's an adventurer. He's an entrepreneur, husband to his wife, Stacy, proud father of two boys, Chase and Dylan. He is the CEO and co-founder of 29029. And 29029 is an epic adventure and endurance challenge. 29029 dares its participants to hike the mountains of Jackson Hole, Sun Valley, Lake Tahoe on repeat until they've climbed the equivalent of the world's highest mountain, Everest, which sits at 29,029 feet above sea level. To deepen the challenge further, hikers must complete this climb in 36 hours or less. Mark, who's also an ultramarathon runner and Ironman competitor, has completed 29029 over 10 times himself and is here today for a conversation about physical and mental wellness and the important role that they both play in all aspects of our lives. So, Mark, welcome to the Retirement Key Show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Abe.
You're welcome. Yeah, pleasure to have you here. So, Mark, why don't you just share with the listeners your story behind founding the organization 29029 and what inspired you to create this unique endurance challenge?
Yeah, I mean, look, it takes a team and a village, and certainly I have an amazing team and what we've built at 29, an amazing community that's been built from it. But the original idea really came from my experience at my first Ironman, which I wouldn't have done if not for my college teammate at Auburn, Matt Burrell, and best friend and partner in crime at 29 and 29. Hadn't have done an Ironman, and my 6-year-old Chase at the time is now 14, looked at me and said, "Dad, you can do an Ironman, right?" And I was like, I'm in my mid-30s at the time, late 30s. I'd never done a marathon. Like, I ran college track. Wow. I was a miler, and signed up and did an Ironman. And in that Ironman experience, I've been an entrepreneur for a while, probably about 10 years at that time. Okay. And I don't want to say I saw a problem, but I saw an opportunity. I had this amazing experience, a highlight of my life, doing my first marathon in an Ironman. My parents being there, my in-laws being there, my wife and kids being there. But that's the only people I shared the experience with. The 2,500 people that I swam 2.4 miles, biked 112 miles with, and ran a marathon with, I didn't meet or know anyone.
Yep.
And I thought, I left and I was like, man, what a missed opportunity. There's some great people who were there. Ironman put on a fantastic event. Why didn't I meet anyone? And I realized because everything I did was with my family. And also in signing up for Ironman, what I realized was after I signed up, everything was a challenge. Where am I going to stay? Where am I going to eat? How am I going to get my bike there? The massage therapist that I needed, et cetera. And at 29 and 29, what I thought was, how do you bundle all of this together, right? How do you have one party who, once you sign up and commit to climbing 29,029 feet, you have a party that's going to train you. They're going to put you up in a place to stay. They're going to feed you. They're going to have massage therapists. And that's really what I wanted in the experience. But you get to experience community with it. So it really started with solving a problem of feeling like I didn't have a complete experience at Ironman. And then what better to tell than I'd always kind of wanted to climb Everest, and my wife told me she didn't want me to do it. She's told me no to very few things. And she said, look, too many people die, and that's a selfish pursuit. I don't want you to do it. And I thought, well, wow, people are doing this on a bike where they go to a hill, they ride up the mountain or the hill on their bike, and they ride down until they climb 29,000 feet. And I thought that story of hiking Everest but taking a gondola down at a beautiful location, doing it with amazing people and having it be turnkey, those are the pieces that came together that's formed 29 and 29.
Awesome. And I've done it twice myself. Snow Basin, Utah was my first challenge. And, you have 36 hours to complete the challenge. And I did it with about 30 to 40 minutes to spare. I really wouldn't recommend that, but it made it exciting and it made it fun. And these challenges are frustratingly doable. And so if you just put your mind to them and you train for them and you put in the training, you focus on nutrition and all of your training, if you're listening right now and you say, I've never done a marathon, let alone climb a mountain, 15 times the equal of 30,000 feet, that sounds like something I could never do. Well, you know what? Most of you can do it if you're listening right now, if you just put your mind to it and it's something you want to achieve. and we'll talk about how that affects us, in all of the rest of our lives. I can relate there too, Mark. My wife, Shelly, was like, she was like, hopefully you're not thinking about climbing actual Mount Everest. And so I've had that conversation with Shelly too. So what sparked the idea to apply the concept of climbing Mount Everest and bring that to different mountains here in the United States?
Look, I think at the end of the day, we all want a story to tell. When I did Ironman, I was part of a lot of the conversations that I didn't have to start, but it felt good. People came up to me and were like, "What'd you do today?" "Oh, I swam 2 miles," or "I biked 150 miles." That was unique, right? It was different. I had to learn skills though. I wasn't good on the bike. I had to buy a bike. I had to have a swim coach because I couldn't learn how to swim. At 29 and 29, it's an amazing story to tell. What an amazing story, and how easy it is to say, like, I'm going to Jackson Hole or Sun Valley, already a beautiful place. People are intrigued. And then you say, I'm going to climb the equivalent of Mount Everest in a weekend.
Right.
But you're hiking. And I think what we've created is a beautiful, unbelievable experience. It's walking, right? There's no climbing. There's no dangers of falling anywhere. You need no skills whatsoever. You literally need to be able to walk, hydrate, and eat. And when you get tired and when you don't want to eat, you need to be able to continue to do those things, right? So that's where the frustratingly doable part comes.
Yes.
Over 2/3 of our athletes or participants have never even done greater than a half marathon, right?
Wow.
So they're attempting endurance sport for the first time, but they're doing it in a supportive environment where I believe where they're getting an amazing story to tell as well, right? And that's really where it came from. Is everyone can relate to Everest. We all know it's the highest place on earth.
Sure.
To be able to say you're going to hike the equivalent of that is quite an impressive story to have.
Sure.
And to know that you're doing it in a way where it's turnkey, I think makes it a lot more attainable for people.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the organization just makes it as easy as possible to participants, with trainers everywhere, and food and hydration stations everywhere, and just a community that you're out there with. Everyone is kind of tackling this challenge on their own. It's not a competition. It's you against you. But the community that you're out there with, all these people that are like-minded, that are positive, optimistic, just ready to tackle something big. It's really amazing, and we can talk more about that. Endurance sports, Mark, often attract a very niche community. And again, a lot of listeners right now are probably thinking, there's no way in heck I would ever do this. But what have you observed about the participants of 29029, and what do you think drives people to take on this challenge?
Look, I think we're pulling from people who are looking for something more. They're looking for connection. They're looking for a safe place to fail, right? I think as we get older, I know that I become a little more stuck in my ways, and I wish I wasn't that way, right? And I think as we get older, we're less willing to fail, and we're worried about what people are going to think. And at 29 and 29, it hasn't been around for hundreds of years or decades, right? It's a new challenge to relatively speaking. We started this in 2017. We've only had 6,000 people climb with us, right? Tough Mudders had 15,000 people do their inaugural events, right, in year one.
Wow.
So there's a limited subset of people that have done it and kind of understand it. I love that aspect, but it's hard to gather information and understand. You kind of just have to put yourself out there. And I think that willingness to be vulnerable and learn and lean on others and establish true connections while in a beautiful place is something we need more of. I mean, look, we're more connected than ever with social media and technology.
Right.
And we're less connected to real human conversation, connection, and bond building.
Yep.
What better way to do that than in a beautiful place while walking next to someone that you're not competing against? So that's the type of person that we're bringing to this, is someone just says, I need something new. I want to shake things up in my life. I don't know if I'm going to finish. I don't even know where to start, but I know that this speaks to me because it's something different. I'm going to meet good people. And the majority of people who are doing this, they've not done Ironmans. They've not done marathons. They're attempting something new, and they want to do it in a beautiful place. So I think there's a lot of shared experience that happens because of that.
Yep. Yeah, everyone has we all have our own Everests, right? And it may not be hiking or climbing a mountain. It could be a different Everest in your life. But just having challenges and things to look forward to and to challenge you in life to grow. You're right. If we're not growing, then what's the point of living is really my opinion,
Sure.
What's really cool about these events, Mark, is that, I've seen an 80-year-old successfully complete this challenge at Whistler. I've seen teenagers complete the challenge, male, female, anywhere from typically a lot of 40 and 50-year-olds out there, some 60s, and the bond and relationships you can build while you're out there completing this challenge together with other people. I mean, I definitely have lifelong friendships just built on the mountain with people because you're going through this together. You're out there on the mountain sometimes at 1, 2, and 3 a.m., making sure you can do it. And to be out there alone with a few people doing this together is it's just incredible and something you have to really experience on your own. Mark, what are your beliefs on how physical health and mental well-being contribute to individual performance, whether it's in business, sports, or personal pursuits?
So there's a quote that's not my own that I love, that's a fit body, a calm mind, and a house full of love. These things cannot be bought. They must be earned, right? And I'd heard many times when I was growing up, the way you approach your 40s is the way you're going to live the rest of your life. And I loved going into my 40s. I'm 44 now. When I went into my 40s, I was just getting into endurance sport. And what I loved about it is it gave me something else to challenge myself every day, right? We all have the demands of parenting, a job, a commute. It's nice to have something else to look forward to that you're building for yourself. So when you sign up for an event like this, and if 29 on 29 is not for you, I would just encourage you to sign up for something big, something that scares you where you don't know what the outcome's going to be, right? For me, it's become my lifestyle, right? It has been about, well, if I have something big on my calendar, it's the 6 months that lead up to the event. The event's the icing on the cake, right? Those bonds you build on the mountain are amazing. Earning the red hat, which we give to finishers, is certainly special. But you're a different person when you leave the mountain than when you came. And you're a significantly different person than when you signed up, right? Because you have to prioritize things in your life and you got to cut out the fat, right? It could be Netflix. It could be drinking. It could be junk food. It could be wasted time on social media because you're going to spend an hour hiking today rather than scrolling on the internet. So I think what it does is to me, it sharpens all aspects of my life when I have something like that. And then after the event, I think it highlights those things that are important to me. Those things that I cut out, I somehow realized I did just fine without them the last 6 months. The things that I want more of, the true connection, has been like, okay, how do I have one less Zoom call today? How do I sign up for one less engagement on my calendar? And how do I have a shared experience, a cold plunge, a sauna with someone, right? And so for me, it's changed my whole perspective of how I spend my time and what truly makes me happy. Right. Was doing something really hard that forced me to self-select a little more how I spent my time better. Yeah. Time is probably our most valuable asset. Matter of fact, it is our most valuable asset. And so that's right. And I feel like, Mark, when you take care of yourself, you're going to be better for your spouse, your partner, your kids, your business colleagues, your employees, your team members. When you take care of yourself first, right, and you are in great physical health, that fit body, calm mind, household of love. I love that quote. I'm going to steal that and use that because that is awesome. Well, look, here in the DC metro area, people are super busy. You talk about being on social media, working, 40 to 80 hours a week, depending on what your career is, long commutes. Balancing a busy career with personal health can be challenging. What strategies do you personally use to maintain a healthy lifestyle amidst professional demands? A great starting place for me, not a sponsor. I get no plug for saying this. I wear a Whoop, right? Yep. And it tells me how much sleep I need. For me, it started with sleep. It started with just cutting out the mindless hour of watching SportsCenter at the end of the night, right? I can just watch some quick highlights on my phone. For me, it was just simple changes like that allowed me to get up a little earlier in the morning. And then there's a lot of life hacks. I know not everyone is fortunate to work from wherever they want, or there's some of the flexibility that I've been able to build into my life, but I take a lot of calls while walking, right? And it was just changing things where it's like, look, I don't have the time today with what my schedule demands. Do I have to be on video? Can I just take this call voice only? And can I do it on a treadmill, right? And can I get in some kind of workout? Can I do something? And for me, I just made a list of non-negotiables for myself. These are things that I need to do every day to be happy. And not every day do I get it right. But the days that I get it right are far better than the days that I don't. And I think it's just to kind of monitor what are those things that are your good days and your bad days, and is there a consistent theme? And that doesn't take any time. It just takes effort of putting it in a journal. And over time, I realized eating well, getting a good night's sleep, playing with my kids, having a good conversation with my wife, and exercising were kind of my non-negotiables.
Absolutely.
Some days it was only 15 minutes of exercise, by the way. And sometimes that exercise was with my kids, right? It was, hey, we're going to go out and run 2 miles. I know you don't want to run. I need to do my workout, and I want to talk with you, and I don't want you to be on devices. So it's not perfect every time.
Sure.
But I think you have to make a commitment to those things that are making you a better person,
right,
for everyone else.
Yep. You're moving forward. You're active. It's the daily habits, right? We all know that, but easier said than done. It's those daily consistent habits that add up to a lot over time, whether it's weight, anything, can add up to a lot over time. And so our health is our wealth. And man, Mark, it's been awesome having you here as a guest on the Retirement Key. Just one final question beyond all of your achievements and the organization's achievements and at 29029, what legacy do you personally hope to leave through your work at 29029?
I hope it's showing my kids the impact you can have on other people by pursuing like who you really are. In some of my earlier entrepreneurial endeavors, it was about the size of the company, it's about me being the front guy. I think here, I founded it with my partner, Jesse, but he gets to be the face of the business. That's great. Right. Everyone knows who Jesse Itzler is, or most people do. And he's a fantastic guy. He's an awesome partner. Right. But I led with my heart. Right. And this is a different style of event. It's not a competition. Right. Mm-hmm. It's you versus you. And I led into the things that brought me happiness. And I think what I want my kids to see is that there's a big cup. Right. We can all drink from it. Right. It's not a zero-sum game for everyone, and that you can get more out of giving to other people than them giving to you. And that's what this whole community has been built off of. So I want to protect 29 because I want my kids to kind of see that there are good people in this world, and that there are people who are going through really hard things and still choose hard, right, for how it benefits them. So I just want it to last, and I want to get to continue to meet great people like you. It's an unbelievable benefit to my job and my work.
Mark, you're an inspiration. I mean, 29029 has really changed my life. And our good mutual friend, Thomas Zebley, was after me for years to complete this challenge. And he knew why he was after me, because the impact that you and this organization and people like Thomas Zebley have when you complete this challenge and then invite friends and family out to do it, it just has this ripple effect that can really impact, and already has, thousands and thousands of people. You come back a different person, ready to take on life in a different way. And so I'll always remember: fit body, calm mind, household of love. And I think that's just an awesome way to finish this podcast. Mark Hodulich, CEO and co-founder of 29029 Everesting. Again, the website's 29029everesting.com. And on Instagram, it's at 29029 Everesting. Thank you so much for being a guest here on the Retirement Key, Mark. Really enjoyed our time together.
Thanks, Abe. See you on the mountain this year.